You think you already know exactly what a bolt-action rifle is supposed to feel like because you have been carrying the exact same heavy setup for the last 20 years. But stubbornly holding on to that outdated mindset is exactly why you are still missing critical follow-up shots when your heart rate spikes and you are fighting pure fatigue on a steep mountain ridge. Stop dropping thousands of dollars and waiting 12 months for a custom gunsmith to build your dream rig, especially when the factory production floors are now churning out aerospace-grade titanium and perfectly cured carbon fiber straight out of the box. Look, the 2026 hunting lineup just dropped. We are talking lightning-fast straight pull systems and perfectly balanced short barrels that will make your current deer rifle feel like an absolute dinosaur. I am breaking down the top 8 new bolt-action platforms of the year. These factory rigs are gonna make you question every single dollar you ever spent on custom gear. Kicking off the list at number 8, we have a platform that finally stops treating a huge chunk of shooters like second-class citizens. The Browning X Bolt 2 left-hand model just dropped for 2026, and it is about time. For years, southpaws have been forced to reach over their glass and awkwardly run right-handed actions in the field. You lose precious seconds when a buck is on the move. Browning stepped up and dedicated real factory floor space to build a true left-side ejection port and bolt handle. Now you can keep your eye glued to the optic during rapid fire without breaking your cheek weld. Under the hood, this rifle features their adjustable feather trigger system, which utilizes polished sear engagement surfaces to eliminate creep. That matters because when your sear drops clean without dragging across grit, you take the human error out of your shot placement. It snaps like a thin sheet of glass, breaking right at 3 pounds out of the box. Combine that with a free floating barrel, and this thing is a certified tack driver right off the rack. Out on the range, this rig eats 6.5 Creedmoor for breakfast. The kick feels like a firm shove from a heavy oak door. It is very manageable and easy to track your own splash in the dirt. Look, here is the deal. It fails when it comes to the factory stock texturing. The stippling on the forend is entirely too slick if you are running it wet or covered in snow. Your support hand will slip just enough to throw off your point of aim when you need it locked down tight. Street price is hovering around $1,500. That is a little steep for a factory gun, but you are paying the southpaw tax here. It weighs in at a solid 7 pounds bare, making it rugged enough for backcountry abuse, but maybe a bit heavy for the high altitude guys. Moving past the slippery grip, this is a serious tool for the lefties out there. Moving on to number 7, we have a platform that punches way above its weight class. The Bergara Platinum Stalker is a serious piece of hardware for the backcountry hunter. Stripping it down to the action, this rig utilizes a meticulously hand-laid glass bedding system around the recoil lug. That matters because it creates a rock-solid foundation that prevents the action from shifting under heavy recoil, ensuring your point of impact never wanders after the first round leaves the barrel. The trigger brake on this thing is dead crisp, snapping like a thick icicle breaking off a winter roof. When you pull that trigger, the kick feels like a sudden jab to the shoulder. Firm, but definitely not punishing enough to cause a flinch. It slings 300 Winchester Magnum with absolute authority, and it weighs in at exactly 6.5 pounds empty, making it a breeze to carry up those steep ridges. Look, I know the fanboys will hate this, but you do not need a custom-built rifle when factory options are running this smooth. Sound off below if you trust this rig for your next big hunt. Honestly, here is the deal breaker for some guys. The proprietary magazines are ridiculously expensive, and hard to find out in the wild. You lose one in the brush, and it will drain your wallet just to replace it. The damage to your wallet is around $2,200. Rugged and reliable, this rifle will absolutely neutralize your target if you do your part. Stepping up the game to number 6, we are looking at a pure workhorse that does not care about looking pretty. The Savage 110 Trailblazer was built for guys who actually drag their gear through the mud and blood. Looking under the hood, this rig utilizes Savage's legendary barrel nut headspace system. That matters because it allows the factory to set the headspace to exact minimum tolerances without expensive custom hand fitting, which translates to extreme chamber consistency and sub-M.U.L.E precision right out of the box. You pair that with their AccuFit version 2 stock system, allowing you to adjust the length of pull and comb height with a set of spacers, so your eye lines up perfectly with the glass every single time. The trigger brake is fantastic, snapping like a dry carrot breaking in half when you apply exactly 2.5 pounds of pressure. When you send it down range, this rifle feeds on 22 Creedmoor, pushing those light pills at screaming velocities. The recoil is nothing more than a polite tap, feeling like a gentle nudge from a heavy dog. Honestly, here is the deal breaker for this setup. The factory coating on the bolt body is incredibly gritty when it ships, and the action feels notoriously stiff straight from the factory. You have to run it wet and cycle it a few hundred times before it finally smooths out. Sets you back around $800 depending on the setup. Weighing in at 7.1 pounds with a 16.5-inch straight fluted carbon steel barrel, it is a solid truck gun that gets the job done. Now we get serious at number 5 with the Franchi Momentum M.U.L.E. Built for working in tight spaces, this rig is a pure utility tool. This is a solid piece of gear, but wait until you see the monster waiting at number 1. Getting right into the action, this platform runs a 3-lug fluted bolt with a short 60-degree throw. That matters because a shorter bolt lift keeps your knuckles completely clear of oversized modern optics, while drastically speeding up your manual cycling rate for those critical follow-up shots. You can rack this thing incredibly fast without ever losing your sight picture. The trigger breaks cleanly, snapping like a brittle piece of dry pasta. When you pull it, this short barrel spits .308 Winchester with serious terminal performance. Because the barrel is only 16.25 inches long, the blast is aggressive, but the kick feels like a heavy medicine ball hitting your chest, mostly thanks to their proprietary TSA recoil pad, soaking up the rearward energy. It weighs right around 7 pounds bare. Listen, here is the flaw you need to know about before you buy. The factory flip-up sights feel like an absolute afterthought. They are constructed from cheap polymer, and if you accidentally bang them against a tree stand or a truck door, they're going to snap right off. You will definitely want to rely on the monolithic Picatinny rail and mount a durable piece of glass. Expect to drop around $1,550 to bring this one home. Compact and incredibly mobile, this is the absolute definition of a modern scout rifle. Stepping into the number 4 spot, we have a platform that completely reimagines how a bolt gun should function. The Franklin Armory Prevail is turning heads and causing serious arguments at the gun counter. Most guys know Franklin for their binary triggers, but they just dropped a precision hunting rig that absolutely wrecks the competition. Looking directly at the action, this rifle features their new total round control system. That matters because instead of forcing you to choose between the reliability of a controlled round feed and the speed of a push feed, the Prevail combines both. It utilizes an extractor that snaps over the case rim immediately, while a mechanical lifter activates the ejector. This means the brass is fully secured through the entire firing and extraction cycle. You will never experience a double feed or a stovepipe when you are running the bolt frantically under pressure. The trigger snaps like a frozen dead branch, breaking perfectly with zero over travel. When you touch it off, this rig runs on 6.5 PRC. The recoil is incredibly well managed, kicking like a dull punch to a heavy bag. That mitigated kick is mostly due to the integrated recoil lug and the unique thermal mass of their proprietary carbon ceramic barrel, keeping the muzzle completely flat. Let us be real. Here is the agonizing deal breaker. If you want the complete carbon ceramic build, it is going to drain your bank account dry. You are looking at dropping roughly $3,800. That is custom gun money for a factory rifle. And that premium cost is going to scare off a lot of working class hunters who just need meat in the freezer. Entering the elite tier at number 3, we have the Bergara Premier Cima Pro. This rig perfectly bridges the gap between ultralight mountain rifles and heavy precision platforms. Getting down to the mechanics, this rifle uses an autoclave cured carbon fiber stock. That matters because instead of a standard wet layup, they bake the carbon under massive atmospheric pressure to completely eliminate structural micro voids, ensuring your barrel stays 100% free, floated no matter how much torque you put on your bipod. You pair that incredibly rigid chassis with Bergara's proprietary Cure carbon-wrapped barrel, which acts as a massive heat sink to stop your point of impact from shifting during long, rapid-fire strings. The factory TriggerTech trigger breaks exceptionally clean, snapping like a brittle wishbone the second you apply pressure. When you send lead downrange, this rifle eats 300 Winchester Magnum for breakfast. Because it weighs right around 5 3/4 pounds empty, the kick feels like a pissed-off mule kicking you in the chest, but their bidirectional muzzle brake tames the absolute worst of the rearward energy. Listen, here is the brutal reality of that brake setup. While it absolutely saves your shoulder, the side concussion is completely deafening and aggressive. If you are shooting prone next to a hunting partner or guide, that side blast is going to rattle their teeth and blow their gear right off the shooting mat. You're looking at a price tag of around $3,099. Designed for the harshest environments, this carbon fiber masterpiece is built for the high country. Closer to the crown at number 2, we have a platform that pushes weight reduction to the absolute extreme. The Weatherby Mark V Backcountry Capra is hands down the lightest fully capable mountain rifle on the market right now. It weighs an unbelievable 4.1 pounds bare. Diving into the construction, this rig utilizes a titanium receiver built on the legendary Mark V action. That matters because titanium gives you the exact same yield strength as 4140 tool steel to contain high-pressure Magnum cartridges, but it shaves off dozens of ounces of dead weight. When you bed that titanium action into their proprietary Peak 44 aerospace carbon fiber stock, you get unmatched axial rigidity for long-range precision. The trigger brake is absolutely surgical, snapping like a brittle autumn leaf under a heavy boot. When you send it downrange, this featherweight slings 6.5 Weatherby RPM with terminal precision. Because the gun is so incredibly light, the kick feels like a sharp crack from a heavy baseball bat. The physics dictate that free recoil energy goes up as weight drops, so you better hold on tight and let the muzzle brake do its job. Let us be real. Here is the ugly truth about this setup. The finish on that titanium action scratches way too easily if you are dragging it through rocky terrain. It wears down fast, leaving shiny metallic gouges that will absolutely glare in the sun and bust your camouflage. Sets you back exactly $3,499. If you're hiking steep elevation and counting every single ounce, this is your primary weapon. Taking the absolute throne at number 1, we have a masterpiece that completely rewrites the rulebook for modern hunting. The Walther RS3 is a straight-pull bullpup that makes traditional bolt guns look entirely obsolete. When you look at exactly why this takes the crown, it gives you the extreme mobility of the Weatherby Capra at number 2, but delivers a blazing fast cycling rate that leaves the Franchi at number 5 completely in the dust. Looking deep into the mechanics, this rifle utilizes a fully enclosed monocoque action. That matters because instead of bolting a standard receiver to a stock, the entire action is milled from a single solid block of aerospace aluminum. Creating this rigid metal cage drops mechanical tolerances to absolute zero, eliminating barrel shift and guaranteeing sub-M.U.L.E precision before it ever leaves the factory floor. The performance trigger breaks incredibly clean, snapping like a frozen cedar branch under a heavy truck tire when you apply just under 2 pounds of pressure. When you send it downrange, this European heavyweight slings standard and magnum calibers with brutal terminal efficiency. Because the weight is balanced perfectly directly over the pistol grip, the kick is drastically tamed, feeling like a dull shove from a padded sledgehammer. The bullpup geometry gives you a full 22.8-inch barrel, complete with a fully integrated Walther QSA suppressor, but the overall length is remarkably shorter than a standard unsuppressed carbine. You get maximum terminal velocity and a completely silent footprint without getting snagged on every single tree branch in the heavy timber. You are looking at handing over exactly $6,999 for the Heritage model. It is the absolute pinnacle of hunting technology, giving you semi-auto speed with bolt-action reliability. So there you have it. The firearms industry is moving incredibly fast, and if you are still clinging to that heavy wooden stock from the 1990s, you're going to get left behind on the mountain. These new bolt guns are lighter, faster, and far more precise than anything we have ever seen before. It is time to upgrade your gear and stop making excuses for those missed shots. If you want the raw truth without the fluff, lock it in right here.